Straight from Silicon Valley, 3 generations of venture capitalists and 1 guest judge equals
Meet the Drapers! Imagine that. They wanted another season.
Entrepreneurs pitch,
$1 billion lost every year. We were both wandering aimlessly.
the judges ask the questions.
So what's special about you guys?
Why will this stay on your platform?
But here is the twist. You, the viewers, get to invest for equity. This is your chance to own a piece of the next big idea. To invest in a company, go to meetthedrapers.com, find them in this week's Entrepreneurs, and you can invest. You can share in their future success. At the end of the season, the entrepreneurs with the most funds raised are brought back for the season finale, where Tim Draper invests in his favorite company.
Become an entrepreneur because it's easy to get money. And that didn't happen in Wall Street.
Let the games begin.
Welcome to Meet the Drapers. I am here with my father, Bill Draper, one of the great pioneers of venture capital, and my sister, Polly Draper, who is a filmmaker and that we all have to go see.
That you have to go see.
And we have to go see. And I'm Tim Draper, and we're Meet the Drapers.
Yay!
Today, we have an amazing special guest, Anousheh Ansari. Okay, she's an entrepreneur, started something called Telecom Technologies, and now is starting another company, Protea. But she's also the first Iranian in space. She is the first female who bought her own way into the International Space Station. She stayed there for 11 days. Welcome, Anousheh.
Thank you.
So great to have you here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Terrific. So tell us what it was like being in space.
It's this incredible experience where your perspective completely shifts because you have this opportunity to look at our planet from a different viewpoint. And when you see our planet, you realize that all these lines we see on a map that separates us, it really doesn't exist. There are no walls, no lines. So it brings everyone together. It gives you a sense of unity with our environment, with everyone who lives on this world, and makes you feel really like an earthling.
You're floating around.
Yes, but what you do is you push, against like panels or walls or objects, and that will push you forward.
Did you feel weak when you came home?
Yes, so when you come home, because you sort of spend a lot of time in microgravity, your body is used to just not having to apply a lot of force. Because without knowing, when we're here, we're fighting gravity to walk, to stand up, to do everything. And then you get used to, not feeling that on space station. You come back, you feel like there's all these weights, sort of pulling you down. And
who was up there with you?
I flew with a Russian cosmonaut, Mikhail Turin, and an American astronaut. And there were 3 other astronauts on board the space station.
And did you all speak in Russian, or?
So the 2 languages on space station is English and Russian, so it was a mix. It was funny because I had to learn Russian, but I wasn't very comfortable speaking it. I would understand it. So I would speak English, and my Russian colleagues would answer in Russian because they didn't feel comfortable sometimes with English. So we were conversing in a mix of language. That's what International Space Station is all about.
You trained for a year.
Yes, I went to Russia because I flew with the Russian Space Agency. So I stayed there in Star City and trained with the Russian cosmonauts for a year.
Why is it that they can't get a shower?
But on space station, because you're in microgravity, it floats. It becomes like a bubble. So if I drop water in the air, it becomes like this ball of water.
This journey has been wonderful for me. It's a personal and spiritual experience that I will cherish forever.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Anybody have done this? If they train for a year, could I sign up?
How's your Russian?
They'll teach you, don't worry.
Now it's time for us to bring on the entrepreneurs. But first, let's see what's going on backstage.
Hi, I'm Moritz.
And I'm Karan. We are from Mitte.
We are based in Germany, and what we want to do is fundamentally change globally how water is consumed.
Everybody should have access to clean water, healthy water. That's a fundamental right for all of us.
Before this company, actually, I lived in Ethiopia for 2 years. Problems with water there was a part of my inspiration.
I'm born and brought up in India. The tap water situation is is really critical in India. There is scarcity of the groundwater, but more importantly, the tap water that you get in your houses is not pure and clean enough to drink. It's not healthy. We don't want to bring a better water purification device to the market. We want to fundamentally change how water is consumed, and our passion and love for that brought us together.
Welcome to Meet the Drapers. Give us your pitch.
Hi, I'm Karan. I'm co-founder and CMO of Mitte.
Hi, I'm Moritz. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Mitte. While we're giving this presentation, the world will be using 11,000 plastic bottles a second. What we wanted to do and what we have done is think of a better and smarter hydration solution. And that's what we've built. We looked at what is really needed for human hydration. It's basically about water that's free of something that's bad for you. Contaminants such as bacteria, viruses, but also new problems that you find in water now, microplastics, hormones, medical residues. We have to get rid of all of that, but it's also about adding minerals to the water that the body needs to function properly. Calcium, magnesium, potassium, all of that. Tap water is not healthy to drink. Bottles are a very unsustainable solution. They're also expensive. And purifiers, they purify, but they don't make water healthy if they work. We've taken a fresh, very innovative look at this industry that hasn't changed a whole lot. And what we've done is creating water that is free of contaminants, getting to the cleanest water you can get for adding minerals to make it healthy.
So do you hook this up to a hose?
Yeah, you can actually hook it up or you can operate it on a tank. So you can do both.
Are you selling the device here or are you selling the water it comes out?
It's basically the water that we're selling. So you get the machine, you get the system, and we're selling those cartridges.
What does
and those
that
cartridges
cartridge look like?
They actually contain minerals, just like in nature as well.
It's a can full of dirt. It's what it is.
Basically a can. Well, it's minerals, right? So it's calcium, magnesium. Best minerals sourced globally. So it's exactly the same way nature creates water. So water rains down, runs through the different layers of minerals, and that's why you have different water in, let's say, Evian or on Fiji. Basically do the same thing, but 50 times less plastic, 60 times less CO2. It's basically your bottling factory right here. That's what we've created, and also create different waters for different use cases. So this cartridge is actually perfect for babies, young children, no sodium. This water is perfect for sports, so it's a lot of electrolytes. So we have different waters for different solutions.
If people want to keep taking water out, fine, but if the minerals are all gone, it's like you're not doing yourself
any. It doesn't even function without the minerals because it's not healthy for you.
But you're going to die of thirst if you don't drink it. I think it's healthier to drink water than not.
No, that's actually not true, because if you're in Michigan, their water, it's not even just drinking water issues, it's shower water that's poisoning them. Yeah. Could that system be done for an entire community?
So it's basically a small desalination plant in there, so it can clean any type of water, but you can also scale it and make it bigger. But what we believe, like in computing or energy production, we believe in decentral solutions of value creation at point of use. So we think in the future it does make so much sense to use the same water for flushing your toilet than for drinking. It's economically not a very viable solution.
Economically, how does it compare to other solutions, water purifiers out there?
Yeah, so it depends about which water purifier you're taking, but we about double the price for them, but we are much cheaper than bottled waters.
Have you shipped any of these?
So we have pre-sold around 1,000 machines now.
I thought you guys were just selling
No, we're not in the market. We pre-sold. So people actually are really excited about this. So they actually bought this machine before it even existed. At the moment, we're launching in June next year.
They're buying the machine, and then you're going to sell them the
cartridges.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
First of all, you have an app. You can actually monitor the water quality. And secondly, every cartridge has an RFID tag, so a tag that will tell the machine, oh, I'm used up 2/3, and then automatically you get shipped a new one. So that's nice for the user. You don't have to think about it, but it's also nice for us because we have recurring revenue.
Anousheh, how do you drink water in space?
You have a water dispenser, but because water floats, you actually let it float and let it form like a little bubble, and then you just go and
swallow the
bubble.
Yeah.
No way!
So awesome.
So the cartridge, how many bottles of water, for example, that one cartridge?
So we do liters, but it's 250 liters. I think that's around 70 gallons.
How much does that cost?
The machine, we're not like final price yet, but it will be around 400.
And how much are the
cartridges? 10 to 20 cents a liter, so around $30 to $40.
What are your backgrounds?
My background has been, I've been working with startups mostly in e-commerce and hardware space.
So I was in consulting first, and I built my first company, direct-to-consumer coffee business, actually. And then I met the CTO, Fabian, who was like building basically the next generation water purifications. And we met as well, and then we three of us combined and said, let's get this going.
I was just thinking about the plastic bottle thing. This can't really be the thing that replaces them, because you would put this in the office in place of the water cooler. But plastic bottles, those things you buy out on the street when you're thirsty.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. It won't replace it. How we see it is, what we want to do is create an ecosystem that replaces bottles at as many use points as possible.
As you can.
Bottled water industry is a $200 billion industry right now. From the numbers that we have seen, about 40 to 60% of the bottled water is for home and office use. So if you really think of it, there is a very big on-the-go use case, but there is a massive use case for people buying bottled water for their home and for offices. And for us, this is a starting point. So we're starting with home, and our goal is to replace bottled water completely at all touch points.
And you're looking at the global market or just the US market?
Our plan is to launch in the US first and selectively in Europe. But this product is such a great fit in Asia, because over there, for years, people have not been drinking tap water. Tap water contamination is very common. And eventually, our goal is to go to those markets as well. But we are launching in the US and in Europe to begin with.
Thank you very much for coming to meet the Drapers.
Thanks, it was great.
Terrific.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Great, yeah, nice to see you.
Thank you.
Great to see you. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I think it went very well.
Yeah, I think they were quite interested, I think, in what we were doing. It's maybe a bit different than what they've seen normally, but I really think it was nice.
Yeah, I think they got the problem that we were trying to solve, and they could relate to it. So I think it went very well.
Yeah. We forgot the demo, but I think it was fine. We were talking more about the importance of what we're doing and why it made sense. And in a year we'll be in the market, so we'll be delivering our first units and then delivering on our promise of healthy water.
You should get on our wait list.
Yeah.
Go and invest in our Republic campaign now.
So let's see what the judges think. What did you think of this great water business?
So definitely plastic bottles and plastic is a big issue, so this tries to address that. I think the price is a little high, which limits the market, but the idea and the execution is really, really nice.
I feel like the price will eventually come down when it gets to be more of a household name. I think it's really, really a huge market.
First of all, in the airports these days, when you go, there's this place you can fill your bottle. So I think in those types of settings where they can implement this in a lot of common areas, I think that would be really nice. The thing that I didn't like is that if the filter runs out, it shuts down the water.
I know, I thought that was a little bit
But they said
aggressive.
that never happens.
Well, it seemed a little abrupt, that instead of just saying, hey, your water is not full of minerals, instead they're saying, you don't get any water.
Yeah, well, in some
no water for you.
Taking any
but
minerals.
in some places it'd be life or death.
I know.
You know.
I thought the CEO was great, a little rigid in his thinking. And the marketing guy was open and flexible. And so maybe the combination will work out pretty well.
I think they've got to build these in great quantity or much bigger machines to get any real impact, because there are other water filters, and really this competes with a tremendous number of other ways to deliver water.
That's my biggest concern, is that there are 1,000 companies that do water filtration.
Yeah. It's got to be really the marketing.
Here's how we judge.
Okay.
We go thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs all around, then you decide. But before we judge, we get a vibe off the crystal ball. So let's feel the crystal ball, and let's just sort of see how does it feel? Do we put dirt into our water?
You're doing really good advertising for it. Oh my God.
Okay, I know what I want to do. Okay, so thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs all around, and you decide.
They're 2 up, 2 down.
2 up, 2 down.
No, I'm sort of sideways. We're kind of like Fred. Yeah. You can invest in this entrepreneur. You can give them a thumbs up or a thumbs down, or you can invest. We are the only show on television ever that creates an opportunity for you, the viewer, to be an investor in these companies. You could invest $100, $1,000. You could just put it all on black. So go to meetthedrapers.com to vote or invest. Let's bring on the next entrepreneur. But first, let's see what's going on behind the scenes.
My name is Joe Troyan, and I'm from PenPal Schools. When we got started, it was just about connecting students to share perspectives. Eventually, I traveled overseas, and I had an opportunity to see how many students around the world, kids around the world, are learning English, how many are getting connected to the internet, and it struck me as kind of a need for students to be connected. Why are they not connected already? Why can't they have an opportunity to experience places outside of their city or town? What we do has really evolved to be a much more well-rounded project-based learning platform. It's connecting students to collaborate and learn. And I personally have evolved to know and care much more about what's happening in schools and how we can improve them.
Welcome to Meet the Drapers. Give us the pitch.
All right, thank you. Are you nervous?
No, actually, but it's really good to have you on the show.
I just want to make sure we're on the same page here. My name is Joe Troyan. I'm the founder and CEO of PenPal Schools, and we connect students from around the world to learn together. So PenPal Schools connects students from over 150 countries, over 300,000 students. So this is why I ask if you're nervous. You're about to learn about the greatest learning resource on the planet. We are growing virally all over the world. We are changing the way that students learn. And the reason that this is happening so quickly is we're perfectly timed for some massive changes that are happening in schools everywhere. Change number one, they're getting connected, right? They're getting online. It's not all textbooks anymore. Students are getting online. There's devices in the classroom. Over 90% of US classrooms are connected to the internet, and this is happening all over the world. And another big shift that's happening is a revolution in the way that teachers are teaching and students are learning. Schools around the world are recognizing that memorizing facts for tests is no longer an effective way to learn. And teachers are leading a revolution away from memorization and test taking and towards project-based learning, right? Students are collaborating together in a more authentic way as we do as adults. Students can connect and collaborate with pen pals all over the world through our online projects. Students are working with peers in over 150 countries to design robots, right? They're writing collaborative poems. They're fighting climate change, building reading skills, writing skills, social and emotional skills. Those skills they need to succeed.
So I agree with all of this. I'm trying to get to what is your business model? How do you make money? Because we're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. So I talked about how schools are shifting class time towards online resources. They're shifting their budget too, right? Over half of US states have shifted their budgets from books to online instructional materials, of which PenPal Schools fits right in the center of that category.
What is your revenue?
We recently monetized, and now our revenue is over $30,000 a month. We are profitable.
How many schools do you bring in that income?
We have over 50 paying schools at this point.
And are they public or private?
All across the board. There's public, private, and charter. There's a mix of all of them. What it used to be is you got to take the superintendent out for a round of golf, maybe buy him a nice dinner, right? And that was very hard for education startups to crack in. What's happening is the freemium model is really taking root in education. And so we have a free product that teachers all around the world use and love, and tell your principal if you want to buy it. And that's been the recipe for our success, is because we focused on building something that students and teachers love.
Do you create the educational material yourself? How do the projects come about?
Many of them we build ourselves. Some of them we build with publishers. So Time for Kids, they built a project with us called Protecting the Planet, which connects students from around the world to learn about climate change, pollinators, fracking. And they said, hey, PenPal Schools can help to connect students around the world, make that content more engaging. Yes.
Language-wise, how does a kid from Africa talk to the kid from Canada?
So two huge trends happening around the world, technology spreading everywhere. The other is English. Because I have been fortunate enough to travel in my life and been able to see firsthand kids running up to me in the streets of Indonesia whose parents don't speak a word of English, and they can't wait to tell me about their life and ask me about America. And I said, there are so many millions of students that want to connect with you and learn about your community, and you can practice your English with them.
Can you give us an example? Let's say fake news. You've got that as sort of a category. How then does this tie into being a pen pal?
A teacher would go on to penpalschools.com and would select the fake news project. And then the teacher would give a code to the kids, the students all create their usernames and passwords. What happens then, they decide what they're going to create. So some students are going to create a public service announcement, right? Others might do a fake news quiz, and we share it in the PenPal Schools showcase for our whole community of students around the world to see what you've created, add comments, react to it, questions. We have built-in lessons with videos and text for students to learn about fake news, collaborate with kids around the world, and help them create their projects.
If I'm a student and I'm in Africa, say, what's my incentive to go look at some other student's work instead of like watching a great YouTube video?
The incentive is authenticity. You remember in school writing just to be evaluated by your teacher? How boring is that? People want to be connected. Give students an authentic audience to write to, and you will see writing scores shoot through the roof.
They see the kids? Is it a Skype situation?
No. We can't ask this class to be on at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time for a Skype call with a class in Chicago. And so we've built PenPal Schools to be accessible. There's no live streaming video. It's written communication. They can get on whenever and wherever they get internet access. So what we've created, it's built to be accessible because students everywhere deserve an opportunity for
How do you make those connections with the school in Africa, let's say?
One of the great things about education, when teachers like something, they share it. Teachers are on blogs, and so when they find something good, they share it. I'm not flying around the world visiting schools, pitching PenPal Schools. This is a teacher-driven movement that's happening.
What is your education?
I got an undergraduate degree in international relations from Pomona College and Spanish. I can do the pitch in Spanish too if you want.
Go ahead. Let's start over. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Bienvenidos a Mitte Drapers.
Okay. No, I'll spare the audience that, I know.
Why are you doing this? What's your background and why do you care about all this?
I was a software designer, and I got really, really good at talking to people, understanding their problems, and designing software to fit that problem. I was fortunate enough to be able to travel overseas. And at this time, PenPal Schools existed, but we didn't have this ambition. To me, it was a side project. And in that time, that's where I was just struck over the head by the fact that English was spreading everywhere, that internet was spreading everywhere. And I was staying with a host family in a small village in India when my co-founder, he emailed me, he said, I'm going to shut it down. I'm not going to do this anymore. So I spent that night just thinking about all the teachers I had met in my journeys across these countries, and I was going to have to send them an email the next day saying, hey, you remember how I promised we were going to connect your kids to learn around the world? We're not going to do that. And I just all night long was just thinking about this terrible email that I was going to have to write. And I woke up and I said, I'm going to see if I can make this thing work. Moved back to America. And I got into this because I was infected by the passion of the teachers that I've met from around the world.
Thank you so much for coming in to meet the Drapers.
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Come a long way.
Thank you very much.
I think it went pretty well. It's hard to say. They all, I think, seem to get the value. I'm very passionate about the teaching and learning side of things and spent less time talking about the business opportunity. Hopefully that passion is contagious and they see that we're solving a real problem and having a lot of success doing it. You know, there is a market out there for what we're doing, and so hopefully that's why we didn't feel the need to dig in more. We started this Republic campaign because we want our teachers to be able to invest, and educators and the people that we serve. They know the value of what we've created. They see the impact that it's having in their classroom. So for teachers out there, we want you to have a chance to share in our success. We also want you to enroll and check out PenPal Schools and try it in your classrooms. And then for all of you other viewers, we invite you to come be a part of this, help to support PenPal Schools. We're very proud of what we've accomplished and always eager to share with new people.
Well, what did you all think of PenPal Schools?
I thought he's terrific and he's done something he's passionate about. It's all about kids. I'm in favor of that, and he's found a new way to reach them, educate them. I'm all for it.
But I love it. I mean, education is such a great gift that any kid can get because no one can take anyone's education away from them. So I love what he's doing and his passion for it. It's truly coming from his heart and connecting, collaborating in this way online and getting kids to learn from each other, from each other's culture and experiences. I love this.
I felt the same way. It's already a whole other dimension of education.
A lot of fun, really interesting. Any concerns you have?
If he can add translation and allowing people to communicate.
Because there are a lot of people that don't speak English and certainly don't speak English well.
What I thought he was going to say were
I thought he was going to say it too. There's the translation
Google Translate. That's one of the big things
that's exactly
happened.
what I thought he said. This is a big thing.
But
the big
instead
thing
he
that's
just said
happened,
English.
He said everybody learns English.
I'm not sure that's true as much as it used to. Good. Okay, well, so let's consult the crystal ball.
Oh, yes.
Okay. This time it's sort of humming to us.
Yes.
Yes. Boom. Okay, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs all around, boom.
Oh, yeah.
4 up.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, so that was our vote, but you have an opportunity to vote up or down or to invest. Go to meetthedrapers.com and you can invest in PenPal Schools. So let's bring on the next entrepreneur, but before we do it, let's take a look at what's going on behind the scenes.
Hi, my name is Naresh.
Hey, I'm Yogi.
We run a company called Fretch. When we moved to Manhattan in New York, we realized that getting our groceries was an absolute chore. Unlike regular mainstream groceries, ethnic grocery stores are few and far in between. It was a long trip back and forth, and it's harder to procure, and which is why it was something that kind of affected us, bothered us.
The passion that he had behind Fretch is what drew me closer and wanted me to go ahead and be part of Fretch and just grow and expand.
It's a common problem that we set out to solve. A problem that we've seen in many other families throughout in Manhattan, New York, and I'm sure many other places as well.
Fetch and Fresh. We fetch fresh groceries for you.
Welcome to Meet the Drapers. Give us your pitch.
Sure. My name is Naresh.
And I'm Yogi.
We run a company called Fretch out in New York. Fretch focuses on ethnic groceries. Depending on which ethnicity you look at, it's about 10 to 15% of the US population. So you could estimate the overall market size to be between $65 and $100 billion annually.
Grocery delivery is becoming such a hot market. So it's attracting a lot of new businesses and a lot of new ideas. But despite all this, we feel that ethnic communities are being overlooked and underserved. It's so hard to get ethnic groceries.
For example, when I moved to Manhattan, New York, my wife and I would have to take a 45-minute trip one way to get our groceries. It was an absolute chore, and there were no delivery options. So it basically started from a personal pain point that we started Fretch, and we knew at least 10 other South Asian families who had the same exact problem, and that's how Fretch started. It started from the back of my car to now where we are, which is at 20,000 orders delivered. We're at a $1 million revenue run rate annually. We've been incessant about our quality, about customer service, about the overall customer experience, that we feel that now our product is mature and that our customers absolutely love us for it.
So I don't quite get why this is going to be better than Uber Eats or DoorDash. Do we need another delivery service?
Are there any of them that focus on ethnic?
No, they don't focus, but you can certainly get it.
So the way they make money is by buying from retail at retail prices, and the way they make money is by adding a markup on top of the retail price. They're paying, a higher price on basic groceries. So we don't do that. We have a setup where we buy directly from distributors, we have savings, and we pass the savings on to the customer. You might have an aisle, in a big supermarket, but the basics and the staples, you still have to go to an ethnic store.
And what they mainly do is their whole job is just to pick up and deliver. They don't understand the backdrop and the importance of ethnic groceries. Now, Indians, there's like 20 different brands of rice. So to get that service, we offer all that. And that's something that Amazon Fresh doesn't offer, Walmart doesn't offer. We're not just a delivery company. We're a customer service company. That's our main focus.
What is special about your customers?
We're very responsive. We give a no questions asked refund policy. People love us for it, not just in terms of how we respond or how we deal with customers, but we treat them like family.
But a lot of these customers give us feedback that we actually use their input to grow. They're like, hey, we should try this, you should try this, hey, why not try this? And we take all that into account and to establish where we are now.
On the $1 million of revenue, Are you profitable?
Yes, we are profitable. So when we started out, we had a very similar model where we were buying from retail stores and we were making money just by adding markup. And it wasn't really going anywhere. And so we decided we had to change something. So we modified the business model. We set up a warehouse. We have distributors that we work with. And we introduced profitability in the system because of that. And now we feel we're at a point where we've worked hard on the internal processes, on our supply chain, on our logistics.
Anousheh spent 11 days on the space station. And I'm wondering if you have had any deliveries up there. Apparently, they're very short of fresh food.
And also, your taste bud changes, so you like spicy food. So some really spicy ethnic food.
It's probably out of our delivery network right now. But
Are you only delivering in New York?
Only in New York right now.
For now, yeah, for now.
Who are your customers?
We started with only South Asian, but the plan is to include other ethnicities also on the platform. So we intend to use whatever we've learned in the experiences so far and basically leveraging existing infrastructure.
It seems like in New York you'd have the easiest time procuring this stuff because there's so many ethnicities. We're all so close together. You get stuff from Chinatown or you go up. It's not as if it would be as hard in New York as it would be somewhere else.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, even here, they understand the problem and the solution immediately. And no one's really doing it.
So I'm still concerned about competition. So there's Instacart or Good Eggs. I believe that they are buying wholesale and then bringing them in. I don't think they're going out to the big supermarkets. So the ethnic thing could just be a feature.
So they are trying to compete with, say, Walmarts and Amazons of the world. But the ethnic population, as I mentioned, is about 10 to 15% of the U.S. population.
What does this look like in 10 years?
So the dynamic's going to be that we have set up in major metro areas, be it, the Bay Area, be it New York, be it Chicago. So you have big chunks of ethnic populations in all of these. So right now we're in New York. There's a big Greek population out in Astoria and Long Island City. And so that's our next target that we're trying to go for.
And we perfected our infrastructure for South Asian groceries. Now the only thing that needs to be changed is to add other ethnicities and expand from there. So we're scalable within the next couple of years.
Do you ship or do you deliver?
We locally deliver.
Locally.
So you actually physically someone delivers?
Right, exactly.
So you actually maintain a fleet for delivery or you contract with like an Uber delivery?
So we contract with a delivery company and they provide drivers as and when they need it, as many as we need.
So how long, like if I ordered in the morning, you deliver in the afternoon?
Same day, yeah, we can deliver same day.
And what are your backgrounds?
So my background is more of corporate. I've worked for companies like Deloitte and McKinsey and Citigroup, and that really wasn't my calling. So, about 4 years ago is when Fred started, and so I knew this is where I had to be, and this is where I end up.
Yeah, and I come from a hospitality background. I was managing a hotel, and from there, I moved on to a grocery locally that serves ethnic groceries. So I went on board. I realized, hey, the grocery space is huge, and that's where I met Naresh as well. So he had already started Fretch. He was still new. He was looking to see where to procure some of the distributing goods, and that's why I reached out to him. And then from there, we built, connection and a friendship, and then from there, that turned into a business partnership.
Terrific. Well, thank you for coming in to meet the Drapers. Great.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Good job.
Pleasure to meet
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you.
I believe everyone did understand the problem that we're trying to solve.
Anybody can go onto Amazon Fresh or any of these big companies and order a gallon of milk or apples and oranges, right? But not everybody can easily order special type of basmati rice, special type of produce that we have, and the spices and the lentils. All these things are not easily available. When you feel that, hey, I want a chicken tikka masala, yeah, that's not one thing that's in there. There's 10 to 20 different masalas that go into one dish, and we have all those masalas available. So if you want to make chicken tikka masala at home, which reminds me, inside Tim was getting a little hungry.
Yeah, they were getting hungry.
Yeah, they were getting hungry.
Hindsight, I think we should have been more clear about the exact roadmap that we want to follow, about the next steps that we want to get to, maybe specify the exact cities that we want to get to or the ethnicities that we want to target.
We need to show everybody, not just the South Asian community, the Greek community, the Far East community, and everybody in between to say, hey, ethnic groceries is something that we need, and we need it easily.
So let's see what the judges thought. Judges, what did you think of Fretch?
So I think they're addressing a definite need in the market. I like the idea. I don't know how scalable it is. When they want to go across geography and across ethnicity, how they can scale their model and stay profitable.
That's a good point. I don't know how they can either. I think you put your finger on it. It may not scale the individual deliveries and getting the right.
Because where their passion was South Asian food.
Yeah.
But what they have to do is get equally passionate people who are
Chinese
Greek
food.
and Chinese and
they're very hands-on. Everything was like they talk to their customers. There's a lot of personal delivery.
I think it'll always.
That's a real positive. The entrepreneurs who are customer-oriented are really good. My biggest concern is competition, as I mentioned. The Amazon might just take over this business where you're going to get delivery of whatever you want by drone service to your house. And you're going to go, those were really nice guys who delivered that ethnic food to me, but here I'm getting my curry, just like that through Amazon. I'm worried about what the dynamic is later. I do like that they're almost to the point where they're farming the stuff.
Yeah.
That does add to their margins, which is a really smart thing.
I think it'll make it, but not very big. I don't think it'll ever get, as you say, really get multiplied.
But we all know it's an enormous market and it's growing, but this may be a niche part of it. And do you think first to go to Fretch, or do you think first to go to Instacart or something else? Okay, and now let's get the vibe.
Let's see.
Okay, do you feel Fretch?
Oh,
are we feeling? I'm feeling less than Fretch. Boom. Okay, so for Fretch, are we up, down, all around, boom? I'm a 3/4 up.
I'm a half.
Ooh, I was the most. Oh, Dad's sort of
I'm about the
3/4.
same way.
Yeah, so you two were sideways, and we were sort of 3/4.
So that makes you're the math guy.
And
That's 1.5.
It's a total of 1 up. Now you, the viewer, can go ahead and decide thumbs up, thumbs down, or you can invest.
Or at least you can order from Fretch.
Or you can order from Fretch.
You can order, yes.
So go ahead, you can invest. Go to meetthedrapers.com and give it a shot.
Yes.
And so stay tuned. You are going to see one of these amazing Bitcoin blockchain interviews. It's coming up right now.
Oh.
If you were to design currency today, it would not look like paper.
Live long in blockchain.
3 words: fund the revolution.
If we move the world's economy, we're going to increase the security in the world 10x. What is money? And how can it be better?
Hi, I'm Dana Farbo, Chief Operating Officer for Augmate. At Augmate, we are taking the chaos out of managing all of the IoT devices coming on networks. So rather than having to manage each one of these devices, whether it's that camera or whether it's a wearable device, we create an environment so you can manage all of those centrally and yet create the value proposition for each of them. I'm here at Crypto Corner about to talk with Tim Draper. We're excited to talk about the security token environment around fundraising for new technology. I can't wait to see where it goes.
So I'm here with Dana Farbo from Augmate. We're here at the Hero City Hero Hangout with a VR backdrop. And Dana, welcome to the show.
Well, it's great to be here, Tim.
Welcome to Crypto Corner.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Tell me a little bit about Augmate and what Augmate's going to be doing.
We are in the augmented reality space to some degree, but really what we do is make sense of managing these more difficult to manage devices.
And how do you manage them?
And so we work with the manufacturers, and what they do is they approve our code to be put on their device. And from that, we can basically have a complete portal managed platform. So you could have a device 10,000 miles away. You could manage who's using it, what they can use that device for.
What about the token? How do the tokens operate? Are they a way to pay, have machine-to-machine payment, or are they a way for you to raise money, or is it something else? I mean, It's interesting to see what people are using tokens for.
We started with the whole idea of the need for blockchain, okay? The need to have a distributed ledger environment so we could scale the data flow with all of these devices. So the initial idea was to use the tokens to meter subscription usage.
You might use them here in the VR center.
Totally.
We need to meter how long people are in the barroom brawl or falling off the building or using the Iron Man suit or whatever.
When coins run out, their experience shuts off.
For our viewing audience, what's the difference between a security token and a utility token, and why choose one or the other?
That's a great debate. You know, security tokens, utility token. The utility token is something that works in your software that rolls and gives you access or gives you value for opening up things. But the security token can be used that way as a combination. But in our case, we're truly just using it as a fundraising. And what we've done is created more of a discount for access to the software.
The future of the token, what's that going to all look like? What's my incentive? Why do I buy one?
It's the discounted access to the software based on market rate. So going out at a penny when the equivalent value is 5 cents for the software. Okay, so that's pretty easy to determine. The other aspect is that we're creating profitability incentives based on community-driven marketplace to where we can be the sort of the aggregated marketplace for a lot of different applications to flow through our platform.
It's very interesting. There are still going to be companies that want to raise their money the old-fashioned way. And then there are going to be people who are saying, well, wait, there is this new vehicle. And that new vehicle can go in a whole new direction. And what it has done for you and for many others is opened up creativity that none of us knew we had. I mean, that is very exciting.
Do you feel like the venture capitalists of the future will be driven or pulled to the token world in addition to the equity side?
I can only speak for one of them. I am still focused on the entrepreneur. And if the entrepreneur is focused on building his business, that's the thing I want to invest in. I just want to be aligned with the people I invest with. One more thing I wanted to ask you. You guys were total pioneers here. You've been through a bunch of fits and starts and twists and turns. What have you learned during that period?
Well, I think primarily it's team. When you create a vision that maybe has a few bumps down the road, but you have a great team to get past those bumps, whether it's in your control or not.
Well, thank you for coming on to Crypto Corner.
Thank you, Tim.
So we saw some interesting companies. We saw Mitte, the water deal. We saw
Fretch,
the Fretch team. And then we saw PenPal Schools.
The best entrepreneur.
We loved it, but we
How could I forget the PenPal Schools? And so what did you think? Are we unanimous that we thought the school one was the most interesting?
My favorite was the PenPal School.
It was?
Yes. You're right that I don't know if from a business perspective it will be a big moneymaker. And I don't know why they haven't tapped into the homeschooling. Because homeschool market may be a good
That would be
because that would include, that would make you feel like you're
the charters and the homeschool and the private schools would be much more open.
And as far as the water one went, where I was the only one that gave it a full thumbs up, it was before I heard your idea, which is the one I really want to invest in. About.
So you and I can start a company.
You know, that company had a lot of potential until you made her the partner.
Yeah, maybe you better rethink that.
No. It would be a great company.
I'd just be the enthusiastic cheerleader to it.
No,
you do all the brain stuff.
You'll be modeling the water.
Yeah, I'll be minerals.
And then, are any of these are going to have big applications in space?
The water one, actually, because we lose a lot of minerals in space.
For outer space, I definitely think that the delivery system is very important. Fresh groceries.
Absolutely.
Well, they were very good entrepreneurs. We're like,
absolutely.
So overall, what do you think makes a great entrepreneur? You're an entrepreneur. What do you think it is?
I think, being an entrepreneur and building a successful company is very, very difficult. So you have to really believe and be passionate about what you're doing, because you have to stick for the long-term, success. And you'll go through a lot of ups and downs, a lot of failures, and unless you're really, really passionate about it, you're bound to give up. So I think
because it's hard work.
Absolutely.
So which of these three teams was the most passionate about it?
The CEO of the PenPal Schools seemed to be the most passionate.
Anousheh, it has been wonderful having you on the show.
Thank you.
We're so pleased that the most amazing person on the planet, most,
oh my God,
not just the planet.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, beyond the planet is a part of our show. But now that you've been a part of the Drapers, we have decided to adopt you.
Oh,
so welcome
you.
to the Draper family.
Sure? Oh,
we love you. Thank you for all of this amazing help. And we kind of would like to join your family because whatever it is that they're doing seems to be working out pretty well. So see us next time on Meet the Drapers!
There's a lot of Tim Draper here.
The priority thing.
Who is he again?
I'm glad I don't need to memorize this.
Am I the only one who's pretending it's another day? You guys look exactly the same.
No, I don't have the button on the top. It's going to be a test for all of our viewers.
Would aliens be able to support use it?
There we go. Now you get the show. Live long in blockchain.